and you playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched the workout in the weight room. But you pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick it, and I run it back 16 days. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show live fan page on Facebook, as well as Martin Houston Live on YouTube at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter, broadcasting on all of those great channels and avenues. And don't forget that you can also download the Tide 109 app to your smartphone device. Take it with you wherever you go. You don't have to miss a single thing. And remember, the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports, your show, your team. Tell your family and friends about us. Tell them to get engaged and involved, and we'd love to hear from them as well as hear from you. The phone lines are always open at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Taco Casa hotline, open for business today. Give us a call. Let us hear from you. And later on in the program, you'll have an opportunity, if you want to get caught up on recruiting, to ask a question from the Bama Online 247 Sports recruiting guru Hank South, as he'll join us in the second half, kicking off the second half in the third quarter today. Remember this, trust in the Lord, and remember that this is a day that he has made. So let's go out and rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. I'm awake. I'm here. So all good signs. Make all the makings for a great Thursday.
Absolutely, great opportunity to take a peep at what the world has to offer today. Of course, high school football is rolling out, and a couple big in-town games this week. Northridge, the Northridge Jaguars on a high school note, taking on Central Falcons, both teams winning week 1. And so, of course, I have some vested interest in that particular game. Greensboro and ACA both taking losses in week 1, so they'll be trying to get their first win. Sidney Lanier, maybe one of the stranger names, Sidney Lanier Poet. What is their mascot? Anyway, that's an interesting mascot. They're Paul Bryant Stampede, looking to get things going there. And, of course, Gordo taking on Aliceville, and both of those teams coming off of victories. And, of course, from a game that used to be big time crosstown rivalry, still a rivalry game, but not as much implications for the season. The Hillcrest Patriots and the Tuscaloosa County Wildcats. Wildcats supposed to have that new turf field. Joe, you think they get a victory in their first home game on that new turf field with the new coaching staff?
Tough for them playing Hillcrest this coming week, but both schools, Hillcrest coming off a disappointing loss. Tuscaloosa County put up 59 points this past week, so I think that Hillcrest needs to be ready now. Granted, they were playing Bryant, but 59 points is no joke against anybody. So I think Hillcrest needs to be ready.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you get 59 points, the other team can be bad, but you still have to execute at least a pretty decent level. So it'll be interesting to see if the Wildcats can win and take down the Hillcrest Patriots. Of course,
To close a loop for you, Sidney Lanier High School is in Montgomery. It is named after a poet, Sidney Lanier, who's from Montgomery. So that is why they are the Sidney Lanier Poets.
okay. Have you did you happen to catch an image of what does I mean what does the mascot wear, or do they have like um is it I mean, that should be a contest, Joe. We should have a contest of what is the poet without anybody looking it up. Is it a guy in like I see a feather, what we call a brim, a hat with a feather out it. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. That would be very interesting. That would be one of the more interesting mascots. So, well, thanks for that information. That makes sense. That it's Sidney Lanier Poet. So, but anyway, hey, have you got a chance to see Ethan Crawford play?
Saw him last week against Homewood, and I saw him twice last year, his sophomore year.
What's your impression?
I think that I think he's the best player in the city. I know a lot of people love Tanner Bailey, and Tanner Bailey is not a bad player. No knock on him at all. I think he's a great player, committed to Oregon. But I think Ethan Crawford, he's got a special factor about him that I think gives him a little bit of an edge over Tanner Bailey. I think he's very, very talented.
Yeah, on Alabama Tradition, his dad was listening to Ryan and I, and actually called in, and I shared that on the air with the dad. And the dad, he was very respectful and humble. I didn't make the comparison, but I'm in agreement with you. He is a special player who I think is flying under the radar. I really think he and remind me. I think I want to see if he's made it onto Hank's 247 Bama Online Recruiting's radar as a player. But to me, he's the best player and best quarterback possibly in this entire region. But definitely, if I was starting a team based on what I've seen in West Alabama, and I was picking quarterbacks, I think I would pick him, as the first player off the bus. So, really special kid, and he's handled it well. Starting as a ninth grader at the most successful. If you look at programs, Joe, the most successful high school program in West Alabama over the years, and he took the helm of that program as a ninth grader, and has just continued to get better. Of course, they did have a new coach, a different coach there, a different change, and it'll be interesting to see how this coach takes advantage of his skill set, because the new coach is a little more old school than the modern football that spread it out, throw it all over the place. But we'll see how he's able to incorporate that. So that'll be a good game to watch. County High, Coach Weingartner and his staff from Auburn High School last year. That is a really, really good coaching staff that they have at County High. Don't know if it's as good as the one he had at Auburn, despite the debacle at the end of the game. That team, did you get to watch that game as well? Auburn versus Thompson.
Yeah, I was up in the press box for that night, and it was, oh my goodness, what a wild ending to that game.
Yeah, it's about as wild as they come. You probably never see anything like that duplicated again. They scored two. They had to score. Was it 10 points or not? They had to score twice to win in like 30 seconds, and they did it. They figured out a way really on how to do it, and didn't have the ball with 30 seconds to go. They didn't have the ball in their possession, but they were able to figure out a way to get that win. But my point behind that is that when you looked at the talent on the field, Thompson was clearly not even close, position to position, the most talented team. And of course, sporting the state's number one overall player, and Auburn still had dominant control. And so I think that gives Weingartner an advantage, in terms of what he was able to do with not necessarily having the talent of a Thompson. Now he's playing in that region week in and week out, so it'll be interesting to see if he's able to get county high moving forward, and on the right track. And I think this game against Hillcrest is a big step forward, very, very important to the building of that program there. One of the funny stories, Joe, is like when you think you have a game won as a coach, what do you do if you're in the press box? You start
taking headsets off and celebrating,
and you start walking down to the field, right? Yeah, you see what I'm saying? You start heading down to the field, and so one of the coaches, Coach Antonio Ford, and a couple other coaches as well. Well, they're punting the ball, right? They're heading down to the field. They miss some of that because they're on the elevator on the way down. They get off the field. They get off the elevator, and they're like, "What in the world happened?" Could you imagine? It would be like a Twilight Zone if you were in the press box as an Auburn coach and your team had the ball with 30 seconds to go, lining up to punt, and you say, "Hey, we got this." And you walk out, and all of a sudden, Thompson is I'm not exactly sure if they got out there when Thompson was kicking off or if Thompson was getting ready trying to score to win the game, but they missed the turnaround, and it was like a Twilight Zone for him. So that was a crazy finish, and kudos to Coach Freeman, who I like and respect a lot at Thompson, who's turned around a program that used to be the laughing stock of the region, and would be lucky to win one or two games a few years back. Now they're the juggernaut. So maybe we'll see if Weingartner is able to do something similar with County High, but at least make them competitive. All right, go ahead.
Right there, I want to let the listeners know that they can be looking for updates on that County High and Hillcrest game from Jacob Harrison on his social media. He'll be out there for us. And, of course, we'll be having Friday Night Lights from 6 to 9 this week.
Yes.
And last call 10 to 11. So we'll have all the updates on that game and more. So just give us a call and tune in on Friday night.
Yeah, go ahead and tell them again, Joe, and you need their help. You need spotters or score guys. You guys at games that you may or may not make it to. You don't necessarily make it to every game. I know you try, but what do they need to do if they want to make sure that their school and their scores get on Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you. We try to get to every game that we can. But last week was first week of the season. Our staff's a little thin. We're growing our staff as we go. So we will make it to a couple more games this week than we did last week. But yeah, if we're not at your game, or if we're not covering the game to your liking, give us a call. Friday Night Lights 205-342-9904, just like the Taco Casa hotline. We're running Friday Night Lights from 6 to 9, and we're running Last Call from 10 to 11. So we're basically just trying to cover as many high school games as we can. Pretty much, if you're close to the station, we want to cover your game, and we want to know about your school. There's 13, 14 schools on my list, and I'm more than happy to add more schools to that list. As we can get more and better coverage. So give us a call, 205-342-9904. Let us know how your team is doing on Friday night.
And I'm a big proponent of high school football, so I know a lot of people tune in to hear about Alabama, but and we're going to talk about that in the second quarter, and we'll get some recruiting. But the other thing I want to tell you is you're not going to find high school coverage on any other sports station. I mean, you're not going to find it Alabama. So why do I say that? Because you need to call your grandparents, the grandparents of these kids, the friends of these kids, cousins, relatives, and tell them all to download the Tide 109 app so that they can get the updates as well. You update us, we'll update them. You can make one call and keep the whole family that's out of town, that's wanting to know what's going on. And you can call us at 205-342-9904. And that's from 6 till 11, high school coverage on Top 109. And like I said, you're not going to find that type of coverage anywhere else in the state of Alabama. And you can get your family, friends, grandparents, and parents, and all of those connected through the Tide 109 app. So coming back on the other side, we will continue the conversation. We're going to have Coach Nick Saban's opening comments. Sounds like he may be a little frustrated. We'll let you give us your thoughts here in just a moment at 205-342-9904.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Towns of Nissan traffic center, no wrecks and traffic pretty quiet on this Thursday morning. Some congestion in Northport on McFarland at Merlene and also on McFarland at Scott. You see other conditions, just give us a call. Townsend Nissan is taking care of business with rebates up to $5,000 and finance rates as low as 0%. Go see them at Cap Rate.
Don't miss a play at the Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Your front row seat to all the action. Place bets on all professional and most college sports at the counter, kiosk, or on your phone. Then catch the game on one of our 20 big screens from the comfort of the newly remodeled Timeout Lounge. Plus, the PRR Sports app gives you access to live, in-play sports betting. Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Be more than a fan. Be a player. Must be 21.
You and your phone have been through a lot this past year. It's been your lifeline to the world. And now some big wireless company tells you gotta buy a new phone from them and sign their contract? They don't control you. With TracFone Wireless, you can keep the phone, number, and network you already have. Already got a 5G phone? Keep that too. Because TracFone runs on America's best networks now with 5G nationwide. Plus, we've got unlimited talk and text smartphone plans starting at just $20. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. 5G nationwide access requires a 5G capable device. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Walk-On athletes put everything they've got into the game. Walk-On Sports Bistro puts everything we've got into bringing you game day with a taste of Louisiana. Over 70 big screen TVs. Mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine. Po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salad. Made from scratch with ingredients you can't help but crave. Now open in Tuscaloosa, 6785 Talon Boulevard. Walk-ons.com. Walk-On Sports Bistro. More than a restaurant.
Are we ready for the 5:30 pickup? Cam's Courier Service's newest hire delivered his resignation.
Hey, Ray, what's happening?
She now needs next-day shipping on a new driver.
All these boxes here, are they ingoing or are they outgoing?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast. I need Indeed. Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Sky partially sunny today. A few spots could see a shower or thunderstorm this afternoon or this evening. The high today 92, tonight's low 72. Tomorrow a mix of sun and clouds with scattered showers and storms around by afternoon. The high at 90. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 74 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith at Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit him online at southmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Function. Coach, go ahead.
Well, look, I guess the state of the situation that we're in here in the middle of practice, still not in game week. Even in the scrimmage on Saturday, you evaluate, the effort, the resiliency. People can't be overwhelmed by their circumstance. You get overwhelmed by constantly talking about, negative things, how I feel, how tired I am, whatever it is. And, fall camp, practice at this time of year without playing a game every week is very challenging. And when you talk about that stuff all the time, it just creates an epidemic of the poor me's. And the season is going to create tremendous challenges. Challenges in every game. I mean, we got lots of losable games that we play, lots of challenges out there, whether playing home or on the road. And you got to have resiliency to be able to overcome difficult circumstances.
All right, let's get rolling. Back with the opportunity for us to hear from Coach Nick Saban. What is the coach thinking? What is he feeling? What's happening with Coach Nick Saban and this team? We had William Barger on Alabama Tradition the other day, and Coach, not Coach, but Nick, excuse me, Coach didn't sound very happy from the press conference, and that's what William Barger alluded to when he was on with Ryan Fowler and I on Alabama Tradition. He seemed to feel like the team may be not completely buying in, and so does that concern you as a Bama fan if this team is not completely bought in? And so, Joe, do you have the entirety of his opening comments where he digs in a little deeper into?
He was up in about 10 minutes last night, and he started his comments with a little 2-minute kind of discussion about feeling their feelings a little too much.
Yeah, and so let's play that, and then we'll come back and give a quick analysis of those comments.
Well, look, I guess the state of the situation that we're in here in the middle of practice, still not in game week. Even in the scrimmage on Saturday, you evaluate, the effort, the resiliency. People can't be overwhelmed by their circumstance. You get overwhelmed by constantly talking about, negative things, how I feel, how tired I am, whatever it is. And, fall camp, practice at this time of year without playing a game every week is very challenging. And when you talk about that stuff all the time, it just creates an epidemic of the poor me's. And the season is going to create tremendous challenges. Challenges in every game. I mean, we got lots of losable games that we play, lots of challenges out there, whether playing home or on the road. And you got to have resiliency to be able to overcome difficult circumstances. And that's one of the things that, fall camp is designed, to do for players. The mental toughness, the self-discipline that you need to be able to make good choices and decisions about what you do and what you don't do. And sense of purpose, driven quality. Something is really, really important to me. And I'm going to make the choices and decisions now to create the right habits so that I have a chance to be successful and do the right things. And I think we're still, working on that with a lot of our players. We got some guys that do a great job of that, set a good example for that. But we got a lot of players who still get overwhelmed, by their feelings. And we're going to do everything we can to get more and more players on our team to have the kind of mindset that you need to be able to sustain difficult circumstances and overcome adversity in games and challenges in games that's sure to come. So that's one of the things that, we're really working on right now.
That's Coach Nick Saban. And What how does it go? Whoa, 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 feelings. It sounds like exactly what we should expect, Joe, but I think we sometimes don't expect it from our Alabama Crimson Tide. You lose as many players as Alabama did. You got a lot of new guys coming in. And there's a huge difference between being the guy who runs off the sideline for uh, a few plays here or there. And when you get tired and exhausted, you're able to go to the sideline and and get rested up versus having to be the guy that's out there every play in and play out. Critical third down situations. At the end of a 10-play drive, you've played 8 of those plays versus 2 of those plays. It's big boy ball, big boy sport. In Alabama, we probably should have been listening to Nick Saban, Joe, when he was saying we got to get those guys around Bryce Young playing better. When you replace 9 guys from the team that averaged 50-something points, it sounds like we may be having a little bit of that in Jaleel Billingsley, as we talked about, may be the ringleader. But in terms of what he did off the field and, of course, carried on the field. But Nick Saban saying a lot about feelings. Young guys, not just in a year in school, but also the fact that these guys, haven't had to do a lot. And Curtis Lewis, and I'll let you respond after this, Joe. Curtis Lewis said the lack of two-a-days makes these players soft and lose focus. And I agree with that. I think that those two-a-days, and not just two-a-days with physical contact. Not saying that I could go out and play at a high level in today's game. Of course, I think I could if there was a fullback in the game, but we were a different breed of players, and that doesn't mean that these guys couldn't go back and play then. They play in the environment that they're raised in, but mentally, Joe, it is a different game when you used to have two-a-days and you had pads on the majority of those days. We had practiced by this point in the first 7 days to 10 days. We had as many practices as these guys have had, this entire camp. And it sounds like when you have to replace as many players as Alabama did, it can cost you.
Yeah, you look at you look at the way they run practice these days, and what Coach Saban said it after the first scrimmage. Basically, his first comments after the first scrimmage were, pretty good for lack of hitting where we are. And I think after the second scrimmage, maybe he was a little more frustrated with the fact that they're not as far along as he would like to be. But yeah, it just comes down to having to be more patient with with the contact rules and with the practice rules, having to be more patient with the players at their execution level. And it's probably, as Alabama fans, you're going to have to get ready. It's probably going to be sloppier football than you're used to in the earlier weeks. But think about the Missouri game last year without Jalen Waddle, without a couple of explosive plays from Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
Wasn't humming really at 100 miles an hour last year. And I think it's going to be similar. I think we're going to have to be reliant on special players rather than a high level of execution. Maybe you get the ball in the hands of Jameson Williams. Maybe you try to accentuate the players to maybe overcome some of the lack of execution as a whole.
Yeah, you look for more explosive plays and big plays. And as you said, Nick Saban probably, Joe, is in another one of his evolution modes, meaning that he's been coaching for a long time, and he knows with this many days left in a season, the team should be executing at this clip. Well, he may not have adjusted the fact that by this time they used to have had, they would have had an additional 5-6 practices. They would have hit in pads 4 or 5 more times. So he may not have adjusted. He may still be looking for the same level of execution at 10 days out that he did, in the previous 30 years or whatever of his coaching in the last 15, 14 years he's had at Alabama. So that may be part of his frustration as well. And as you said, things may not be as crisp as we're used to seeing. And with that being said, does that give the Miami Hurricanes a chance to potentially pull an upset with a very veteran quarterback and a guy who is a playmaker? Could that potentially, make this Miami opener a lot closer than we think? Speaking of Miami, South Florida, a place that we've gotten a lot of recruits from and got a lot of guys over the years. We're going to be joining Hank South on the other side to kick off that conversation. We're going to get Coach Saban to tell us why he feels he's been so successful in recruiting South Florida and why we've had so much success with those guys. That conversation with Hank South and Nick Saban talking about South Florida coming up right after the break.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan traffic center, we got a wreck on 359 northbound before 2059. You can expect delays there. Everything else appears to be moving well, but if you do see conditions this morning, give us a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan is taking care of business with rebates up to $5,000 and finance rates as low as 0%. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
I said chantilly lace and eggshell, not matte.
Colby's Interior Design Consultancy is floored with new clients.
Wait, what am I looking at here? This looks like plaid.
They need an admin with an eye for design and a knack for numbers.
Okay, hey, babe, look, take a look at this. Do those numbers look right?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Screen for quality candidates with the skills your role needs with Indeed assessments. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Has the pandemic affected your business? Even with more and more customers going online in the past 5 years, online business has grown greatly due to the pandemic. Now more than ever, it's important to have a strong online presence so that customers can find your business and products easily. That's where Townsquare comes in to help. Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free competitive analysis to see how your business stands up to the competition. And if you're one of the first to sign up, you'll get $500 in free advertising on this radio station. That's mylocalcustomers.com. Townsquare not only can help you find more local customers online, they'll also help you grow your business to a new level. With premium website services that get you new leads every day and no contracts to sign, there's no better time to join. Not only that, Townsquare also has a dedicated marketing specialist who will be with you every step of the way, making changes that will benefit you and especially your business. It's fast, easy, and you can cancel your subscription at any time. So hurry to mylocalcustomers.com and get your $500 in free advertising today.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com.
Sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Well, there's a lot of good players, number one. There's a lot of good programs, number two. It's an area that we recruited for many, many years, so we have a lot of good relationships with a lot of good people. We've had a lot of people from that area come here and be very, very successful in their careers, become first-round draft picks, have successful NFL careers, graduate from school. The program has created a lot of positive outcomes for guys that have, come to school here. And I think players see that, and that's why they're interested in the culture that we have here in terms of what we do to help players develop personally, academically, and athletically. But I think the fact that there's a lot of good players there, a lot of good programs, a lot of good coaches, and we've done it for a long time and have a lot of good relationships, probably is the foundation to the whole circumstance.
All right. That's Coach Nick Saban talking to us about the success of recruiting South Florida, and to help us with that conversation and whether or not we got any guys coming from that area in this upcoming class is Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Good morning, Hank. How you doing, sir?
Hey, good morning, Martin. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. So, Hank, I guess the question is Alabama going to have the continued success from the South Florida pipeline in this edition of the Alabama Crimson Tide recruiting class?
Yeah, it looks like they have a good chance to. The biggest target that comes to mind when you look at South Florida in the class of 2022 is Earl Little Jr. He's the top 100 cornerback from American Heritage, which is obviously the same school as Patrick Surtain II. He's a guy that Bama's been high on for a long time. He actually has named Alabama his leader for several months now, and he maintains that. He was on campus in June. He was on campus again in July. He's going to be at the opener next weekend in Atlanta, and then he's going to be on an official visit in November. So, it seems like all signs point to Alabama. He just hasn't made a commitment yet. But in terms of that South Florida pipeline, it looks like there's a good chance of another big time target, joining the Tide in this year's class.
Yeah, Coach Saban mentioned quite a few things that helps him recruit South Florida and have success. Of course, being talent and all of that, but he talked about the relationships. He kind of emphasized that, and of course, would you say that these coaches, because that seems to be the big deal with these kids, when you see a coach change, they decommit. Is it that relationship with the players and the coaches in a ranking of top 5? Things you want to make sure you have is that consistency of relationship. 1, 2, 3, 5. Where do you think it ranks?
I mean, it's definitely, it's up there. I would say, in top 3. What Bama has going for it that other schools don't is just, this track record of success. No other school can lose as many coaches as they do outside of Nick Saban, and just continue to chug along. A big coordinator loss could be devastating to one school. Whereas with Alabama, that happens, seemingly every year, whether it be offensive or defensive coordinator. It seems like there's always some sort of big change, and Bama just keeps moving along. And I think Nick Saban does a really good job of finding guys that not only are really solid coaches, but are also very solid recruiters. And he always seems to plug the perfect person into that South Florida hotbed. Whether Mario Cristobal really got it going. Joe Panunzio was really good in South Florida. Charles Huff obviously did a really good job in South Florida, and now Robert Gillespie is tasked with that job, and looks like he's doing a pretty solid job as well. So weather success is super important, but with Alabama, obviously, you got the brand, you've got the track record of success of getting guys from South Florida in particular to the NFL, and typically in the first round. You got that to fall back on too with the recruiting pitch.
Yeah, thus the power of the brand and its ability to connect with the school despite what coach represents that brand. And Alabama is a brand that's very well respected down in South Florida. Unlike, we talked last week about like Georgia and Buford High School. Something happened with the University of Georgia. Someone told me it was under Mark Richt, and since that time, the University of Georgia can't even get into that school to get into those top players, and it's kind of becoming a pipeline for us there. So before we get into a question about a local kid, we got Super Joe on the line. Super Joe, what's your question for Hank South?
Oh, man, how you doing, Marty? How you doing, Hank?
I'm doing good.
Okay. What are we sitting at the recruiting like as of right now? Right now, as of this morning, I believe Alabama is still number 4. Yep, number 4. Okay, well, ain't nothing to worry about. We'll get up and know.
All right. You got anything else for him, Super Joe?
Well, the last season recruiting is to the point where Nick Saban, Coach Saban, have a love for the church, and we get exactly what we need. And one thing about it, he says, when it comes down to recruiting, the money always goes. With the money may not always go in the A gap, but the money always goes. We are going to get the top guy, in that position. If we can't, we don't want to get somebody that's too far off in the recruiting. So he goes out there and gets the best guys. And this is the best recruit. This was the best recruit and the best coach Alabama's ever had, and I say the best in college football, which I think Alabama's down in that area. But right now, Nick Saban will go ahead of them because we're wait till the middle of the season. It's going to be a jump. Count on it. And I don't have nothing else.
All right, thanks, Super Joe. Speaking with Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Hank, I want to ask you about a local kid to see where he's at on your radar. Kid from Hillcrest High School, Ethan Crawford, quarterback. He's a junior, been starting at Hillcrest since he was a true freshman. Has he made it onto the radar yet, or you have any update on him?
Yeah, he's certainly on the radar. He's getting some early offers. I'm not even early; he's a junior now. But I think I actually made his 24/7 page a couple of years ago. But as far as Alabama's radar, haven't heard anything there just yet. And again, you could have stellar junior season and pop right onto it. But schools like Georgia Tech, Kentucky, Maryland, Tennessee. So you've got some impressive offers at this juncture. So he'll be a guy we're certainly watching. And obviously Bama knows about him, so they're keeping an eye on him as well in terms of eval.
Yeah, I look at him. Of course, we saw we saw a lot about Tanner Bailey over in at Gordo, and of course those two can't help but be compared to each other, and a lot of hype been around Tanner versus Ethan, but of course it's a totally year difference, and as you said, by the end of this year, he could be even more recognized. But super talented kid, so hopefully things will continue to pick up. As far as Alabama in-state guys, who are some of the guys Alabama's working on and making some pathway into from the local state ranks?
Yeah, it hasn't changed too much. Guys like Justice Pinkley from Hewitt Trustville, the 4-star defensive lineman. He's obviously been a big target, a guy that has them in his top 3. Could be announcing here soon. He said he's announcing soon. So, keeping an eye on him. Alabama, Texas, Colorado are his finalists. You got a couple or a few commitments from guys like Jeremiah Alexander, Manuel Henderson, Robert Woodyard. Beyond that, Bama's still working on guys like Curtis Perry, another top defensive lineman from Montgomery. Shamar James, he's committed to Florida, but Bama continues to recruit him, the 4-star inside linebacker target. You got Kobe Prentice committed. And then there's obviously Antonio Kite as well. And there's kind of guys, they're just, watching their senior seasons. Eston Harris Jr., maybe an offensive lineman. They push forward down the line, a guy at Auburn High School. We recently saw Marty Kelly commit to Auburn. He was a guy they really liked, but then kind of pulled back on a little bit towards the end when he was making a decision. That was a guy that they were in the mix for. And then, we'll see if anybody else kind of pops up with senior season evals. And then not football, but Riley Quick, who's the top offensive lineman recruit, he's committed to Alabama for baseball as well. So they're doing good there as well. Doing good there too.
All right, you mentioned a couple guys in that, and one of them is a commit from Alabama, Kobe Prentice. It seems to have started things off right in the right way, I should say, from his performance. Kind of reflect on how he did week one, and is this a young man that we could potentially see his ranking and rating going up if he continues to do what he did on Friday night?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 24/7 Sports gave him a 4-star here recently already before that game.
Okay.
Goes out in his first game, has three touchdown catches. I think, I don't have the stats right in front of me, but 100 and something receiving yards, three touchdowns. Then he had a crucial interception on defense as well. So had just about as good a game as you can hope for in your season opener on both sides of the ball. I think by the end of it, he's still a 3-star in the composite, but I think everyone's going to catch up to where he should be. I think he'll absolutely be a top 247, if not higher, prospect by the end of the cycle, especially if he keeps up having performances like that, because you got the speed that we've already seen, and obviously he flashed at camp, and then he puts it on tape for his senior year, because senior year is usually the most important eval year in terms of getting that final ranking nailed down correctly. So definitely a riser we're keeping an eye on.
Yeah, and I've wondered how much potentially could you see a shakeup in the composite rankings as of course, the craziness of the COVID-19 season in 2020. You guys did not get to see as much of these kids, and there's some 10th graders out there that took off as juniors and may not have got seen, and there may be some 10th graders that slacked off, and now they're seniors, and so you guys have a chance to get out and see those guys more. So it'll be interesting to watch the fluidity of the rankings as we go throughout. Another question about an Alabama commit and what this young man means to Alabama in terms of their recruiting. Ty Simpson. It tells a little bit about what he was able to do.
Yeah, he also, probably had the biggest performance of any Alabama commit in terms of just sheer stats. He had, again, I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I think over 300 yards passing, was like 20 of 24, 5 touchdowns, 107 yards on the ground, another touchdown. So kind of for 6 scores, they, crushed the team they were playing. So another guy that had just about as good a performance as you can hope for in his opener. Just to have him as kind of the backbone of the class. He's been committed since February, so he's been able to kind of build relationships with a lot of these guys and help them with recruiting. And, I think he'll continue to do that. Bama's still working on some big-time wide receivers. They already have a lot of skill talent committed, whether that be, we just talked about Kobe Prentice. Emmanuel Henderson obviously committed shortly after Ty Simpson. So those two guys, Emmanuel Henderson and Ty Simpson, have kind of been the focal points of the class. Two guys that are just locked in. We're on campus pretty much all summer long as much as they could be, and just really helping the effort. So, as Bama
Yes, Hank South 247 Sports Bama online recruiting. Hank, when you look at Walter Nolan putting out his top three, surprise, disappointment, you know, Alabama still pursues. What's going on with Alabama not making the five stars top three with Texas A&M, Tennessee, and Georgia leading that way?
Yeah, I was surprised, but I mean, even seeing the top three, I was like, Bama's still going to be in it. He told Walter Nolan's dad told Steve Wilfong the night of him putting out the top three that they're still going to officially visit Alabama for the LSU game. And then, of course, he came out yesterday. Walter Nolan did on Twitter and said his recruitment's still wide open. So, I'm not sure the top three really means that much. I think those two schools are obviously very much in play. He's really been loving up on Texas A&M lately after that visit to College Station. He's obviously in Knoxville now for his final year of high school, so he's very close to Tennessee. And Georgia's always been a big factor for him as well. But I think Bama's still very much in it. He's been there a couple times this year. Spent a few days on campus in June. I don't see them being out of it. So I wouldn't hit the panic button with Walter Nolan just yet. If you're a Bama fan, really hoping that he ends up in the class.
All right, that's Hank South 247 Sports Bama online recruiting. Hank, tell our listeners where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, BamaOnline.com. We're doing our all-time, usual promo dollar for your first month. So obviously a great time to sign up with first game coming up next week. And then you can follow me on Twitter at HankSouth247.
All right, at Hank South 247. Hank, look forward to catching up with you next week. And next week, let's plan to maybe hit a little basketball. I know that has to start picking up here pretty quick. Bama not making a lot of noise on that side, but we'll bring that up into the conversation next week. Thanks, Hank.
Thanks. Sure.
All right, coming back on the other side, we'll have the Alabama One Insurance 2-minute warning.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the towns of Nissan traffic center got a couple of wrecks. One on 359 northbound before 359 with lane blockage there. The other is on Alabama 216 eastbound near Narrow Lane in Brookwood. If you see other conditions, and finance rates as low as 0%. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
Good morning. Democrat State Representative A.J. McCampbell and Senator Bobby Singleton are holding a series of town hall meetings across their West Alabama districts. Singleton used the event to push for a law enforcement statewide database that would keep problematic officers from going from one department to another. And both Singleton and McCampbell expect a fall special session to deal with the prison issue. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's absolutely free on Hartley Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb Series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing LLC.
With Indeed Instant Match, just sponsor a post and immediately receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Starting your weight loss is an exciting step toward a new you. Lush Med Spa is there to support and guide you every step of the way. They offer a one-on-one approach to weight loss that includes delicious foods from HealthWise, NRI, InBody USA, and a variety of supplements and shots. Call today to set up your consultation with one of their staff members as they support and guide you to your weight loss goal. Call or stop by Lush Med Spa, located inside Allegra Family Clinic at the corner of Mittlery Road and Highway 69 in Northport.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Did you miss out on Alabama season football tickets again? Get your Alabama football tickets today by calling Candace or John Ed at T-Town Tickets, 205-345-2500. T-Town Tickets is a locally owned ticket reseller in Tuscaloosa, specializing in Alabama football tickets for home and away games. Don't miss out on Alabama football this year. Get your tickets by calling Candace or John Ed at T-Town Tickets, 205-345-2500. Online at ttowntickets.com. T-Town Tickets says roll tide.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, welcome back into the Alabama One Insurance 2-minute warning. Check Alabama One Insurance out at alabamaoneinsurance.com. We'll review your policies, reduce your premium, and you can relax knowing you're properly covered. Talking about properly covered, we told you earlier if you want to have great high school coverage, then you need to tune in to Tide 109 from 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock on Friday nights. We talked about Coach Saban and him being a little disappointed with the maturity and mental toughness of this team. He got some work to do. We'll see if those guys are able to get it done as we're closing in on the kickoff against Miami. We got some great audio from Coach Saban. We'll bring that to you on tomorrow as well as we have a free-for-all Friday, and we'll also talk about what we expect. Who's going to be the 1-2 guys on the depth chart? A whole lot of things going on with that third and final scrimmage this Saturday. Definitely going to be some depth charts and different things made there. So we'll be breaking that down, giving you a preview. Think about who your players of the scrimmage will be, who's going to be the breakout player, and so much more to talk about right here on your home for Alabama sports. I'm Martin Houston. That's Joe Gaither. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, and guests for being a part of the program. Remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.